Hi, so today we'll be starting chapter 2, and we're going to cover a lot of information today and in the next few classes. Don't worry if you don't have everything memorized by the end of class, that's okay. Everything that we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be doing a lot over and over every class, so you're going to memorize it over time. We're going to be covering those sections from the book. Notice that there are some sections that we will be skipping. So the first thing I want to start off is reminding you that when we are starting to write these programs, we are writing them in a language that is close to human language. So we said that Java is a high-level language. We need to make sure that the programs we write are unambiguous. They are clear. The steps that we write are clear. We need to make sure that they follow certain rules, kind of like when you write a sentence in English. You need to start the sentence with a capital letter. You need to end it with a punctuation. So this is called the syntax of the language. So we're going to start learning some of the syntax of the language. Now, the syntax is what the compiler checks. If your program is not doing the right thing, we say it's semantically not correct. So if I give you two numbers and I want the program to add them, and your program instead subtracts them, the compiler is not going to be able to detect that error. So that would be a semantic problem. So when we talk about syntax, we're talking kind of like the punctuation. And when we talk about semantics, we're talking about whether the program is doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Now, what I want us to do today, right now, is to start looking at the code that we wrote last class in the Hello World. So I'm going to be switching between NetBeans and PowerPoint frequently. Everything I say is in the slides, but I'm going to be talking more on NetBeans. So the first thing I want us to notice is that when we created a project called Hello World, what it did for us was it created a file called helloworld.java. And inside that file, do you see here where it says public class Hello World? And notice that Hello World here has the exact same punctuation as the file. So the H is uppercase, the W is uppercase on the file name, and so the class name is also uppercase H, uppercase W. Notice the word public. So every time we have a class in Java, that class has to be public. So this file has to have one public class. Notice that the class has a curly brace here, and the curly brace ends at the end of the file. In between these two curly braces is something called a method called main. And main also has curly braces. And in between those curly braces, there was the comment that NetBeans provided for us that said to do code application logic goes here. So our code needs to go inside main, and main is inside the class. So every file, every Java file has to have a class that has the same name as the file, the .java file. There has to be one class that is public. It can't be private. If it's private, it cannot be accessed. So there has to be one public class. Now, there can only be one public class. Right now, we're going to only be using classes that have files that have only one class. In Java 2, we'll learn how to have more than one class in a file. Notice that main also has the word public in it. So public means something that can be called and can be used. Every program that we write will have a main. So main is a method that always has to exist. If I don't have a main, so like let's say I add a U there and change the name, and I try running my program, the compiler will complain. It will say I can't find a main method. So it says main method not found. Now, if I by mistake provide two main methods, so let me just copy this. And let me paste it again. And let's run this code where I have two main methods. It's not going to let me. So here it tells me that there is an error message, an error. So we cannot have more than one main in our code.